Despite everything, I mean, absolutely no ill will towards Disventure Camp, its cast, its crew, Jared, or anybody working on this project. I think what you do is incredibly cool. However, I do have my criticisms, and we're going to talk about that. Hey guys, it's Leo Kojem, and welcome to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about Disventure Camp. It's a sort of show that's basically an indie animated version of Total Drama. Disventure Camp is something I've always wanted to get into, but just never really did. It's something that I saw around, I'm like, oh, cool, fan-made Total Drama show, that's neat, but never really got around to it. It just wasn't my thing. Or, well, it wasn't a matter of it wasn't my thing, it's just like, I'm so busy with other things, I don't know, I'll get into it eventually, and eventually finally came around last year when I got into the show during Disventure Camp All-Stars. Actually, I was talking with a friend about oh yeah, there are these fan-made Total Drama shows, and she was like, let's watch it. And so we watched the first episode of Disventure Camp 1's remake, and I would find myself at the end of Disventure Camp All-Stars, and I would watch all of Season 4. As of recording, we have the Disventure Camp 2 remake coming out, and Disventure Camp 5, and Tom Jake Season 2. And yeah, it's been a ride with this show. I have some interesting opinions on the show as a whole. I think it's good. I think it's incredible. I think it's something to really be admired, even if I think it is very, very flawed for what it is. And I think that's the best way to put it. But I think that the crew at Odd Nation Cartoons genuinely has something commendable and something excellent on their end. I know I've been calling it a fan-made Total Drama series. That's not what it is. It's an indie animated project which is inspired by the likes of Total Drama, as well as the likes of Survivor and other reality shows. Recently, of course, we've had the end of Disventure Camp Season 4, Carnival of Chaos, which had basically been running throughout the year of 2025. It was a fun time, it was interesting, it was good. I think that Carnival of Chaos will definitely be a season to remember. It had a lot of ups, it had a lot of downs, it did a lot of things for Disventure Camp as a show. And it's because of that, though, that with this ending of Disventure Camp 4, people are really not happy with the way things ended. And, well, I have a lot of opinions on that. I have a significant amount of opinions on how we feel about the end of Disventure Camp 4. You've seen the thumbnail for this video. You know, and you've probably seen the inflammatory title of, both finalists suck, or whatever. I think that they're both garbage. You've seen trash versus garbage in the thumbnail, so you know what's up. You know that I'm not happy with either of them. I think Logan sucks. I think Jade sucks. I think it should have been Anastasia, but that's besides the point. I think that they both suck, and let me tell you why. Since Logan is the popular guy to hate on, let's start with him, especially since I actually have significantly less with him. The big thing about Logan throughout Disventure Camp Season 4 is that he started your fun, lovable, goofy, himbo guy. He had his whole thing with, I'm a secret Olympian, and then they kind of dropped that. And, his whole thing of, I got third place in the Olympics, I don't want to be third place Logan anymore, I want to be winner Logan, and he succeeded at that, and we'll be getting into that, but I think the main issue of Logan as a character, as people came to watch the season throughout, and I completely agree with this, is that the man does not suffer any consequences at all. He will do so many things to his friends in this game, and don't get me wrong, Disventure Camp at the end of the day is a game. You're playing to win. It's $1 million, but the thing of that is that, Logan would flip, Logan would betray friends, Logan would do all sorts of things, and you just get off scot-free. And that was a significant problem with the character. The greatest example being his whole thing with Anastasia. He had basically screwed Jade out of the game and had lied to Anastasia that her good buddy Jade, oh yeah, no, he's two-faced, he's a snake, he's doing all these things to you behind your back. You gotta oust the guy, you gotta get rid of him. And we'll be talking about Jade later. But he basically lied to Anastasia, violated her trust, someone who has, with the modeling agency and everything, and the life that she has led, trust is a very big thing to her. And Logan violated that trust. And when Hannah reveals to Anastasia that, hey, Logan lied to you, Jade didn't betray you, instead of being rightfully pissed at Logan, she instead was like, how dare you try and use this against me. Logan, go win the challenge. I need you to win Disventure Camp Carnival of Chaos. I think that's what she said. I need you to go and win. And she left, and she instead used Hannah, who told her the truth. The truth of how Logan is a backstabber, and just made him win. And that's pretty much how it is throughout for Logan Bell, Logan Hell, the man himself. He just constantly gets away with this shit, and it's absolutely ridiculous. He's not exactly what I'd call a floater, but it's just like the narrative just ignores anything bad that he does, and everybody by the end of it is pretty chill with him. Jade was screwed out of $1 million, and he's just like, yeah, man, we're good at the end. You know, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. That's pretty much the main problem with Logan as a character. He just gets everything handed to him. No consequences, no actions. He becomes this rival to Anastasia, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Logan is the flip-flopper. He's constantly doing all this shit, and yeah, that's pretty much the issue with Logan as a character. But I said that both finalists are bad, which means we have to talk about Jade, and oh my god, I can see the pitchforks already. Why do I think that Jade just is not a worthy finalist, or is a very good character? Well, first let me preface this with saying, if you love Jade as a character, I am honestly very happy for you. I don't love Jade as a character, but like, this isn't a thing of, just because you like the thing that I like, I think I dislike, I think that you're a bad person, I think that you have no opinions or tastes or anything. Nah, we all have our different tastes. But I do think that Jade is not a very good character, and by extension, not a very good finalist, and we need to talk about that. Right off the bat, I think Jade as a character is just extraordinarily boring. You may think that, oh, I just don't like Jade's character type. I think that she is just a bad character because she's not as bombastic or loud as other characters around her, but no, that's not the issue. You can say that I dislike more quiet, more reserved characters, but that's not really the issue. I think that you can make this archetype work, but it's just not for Jade. A lot of the time she feels like a background character in this show, that she doesn't really get to do much. Despite having some game-changing moves, she still feels very forgettable. A great example of a character within Disventure Camp that I like, that is more on the more quiet and reserved side, is the character of Lake. Lake is a wonderful character in Disventure Camp, and I really liked her in Season 2. At the time of this video, again, Season 2 remake hasn't come out, but I'm really looking forward to seeing a much more cleaner and revised version of her arc. Lake has a lot of the same type of character, at least in terms of her use within the narrative in comparison to Jade. She's quiet, she's reserved, she wants to break out of her shell, but she's making friends, she's doing all these things, she's getting more social, but she's still on the more quiet side. And even after breaking out of her shell for the brief time that we had her at the end of season 2 and in All Stars, she's still at least doing things. She's doing all sorts of things. But Jade, you just get a whole lot of nothing, a whole lot of the blank, just everything. And you can argue that that is her whole character arc of, well, she says throughout the show that she doesn't really want to show her true self, that my true self is someone that no one would really like very much. And, like, I get that as a character, but the issue is we don't really have much frame of reference for who the true Jade is that she's trying to hide from the world, because we get very little of her just allowing herself to be Jade. The mask is so good that we don't really get to see much of what she is hiding from everyone. And I think that just makes her very wishy-washy as a character. Yes, we do have the thing with Benji of her liking comic books, and I think that's really, really good. But at the same time, anything we know about Jade is just about she really likes turtles. She really likes her job as a marine biologist, and that's fantastic. But at the same time, that's also very surface level things. Who is the real Jade? I couldn't possibly tell you other than she likes superheroes, and I think that's neat. One of the things I also want to get into is the idea that Jade, you have this whole thing about Jade is a social butterfly. Everybody loves Jade. And it's like, we don't really get to see that much. Jade as a character really only hangs out with her alliance mates, and she has the moment with Benji, but that's about it. Anything that she isn't doing is just related to the game. When she talks to other characters, it is almost exclusively related to their gameplay, save for, again, gassing up Logan and trying to get him through his arc. It's almost exclusively related to the game. And it's like, Jade is the social butterfly, everybody loves her. Yet I don't really see that within the narrative. It's a lot of telling and not showing us who she is as a character and why she deserves this spot. At the end of the day, with Jade as a character, it's just a matter of a lot of telling and not showing, and I think that's a shame, because I think that this character could have worked, could have been a lot better, could have been so much more, and could have been worthy of that finalist spot and even the win, but she's just very flat. And you can have flat characters, but I think the way in which she was used in this narrative, she was underutilized, she was underrated, and I think that's unfair to her for someone that you're trying to build up as your final two. But that's what I think about Logan and Jade as characters. I think both of them just kind of suck. Logan, who just gets to flip and flop as much as he wants, and Jade, who is extraordinarily boring. So then, how do we move into this finale? And everybody on the planet is like, Jade is going to be the winner of Disventure Camp. You all are Isabel. When the fact of the matter is, Logan's victory was the most telegraphed thing in the entire world. And I am absolutely shocked that nobody really saw it. Or at the very least, from the looks of it, people just didn't really think that it was going to happen. That, oh yeah, of course it's going to be Jade. But no. It was very, very obvious that Logan was going to win this season, especially by the time we got to the final two. And let me explain why. Logan as a character and his arc in general pretty much constitute him from the get-go either getting third place in this game or winning, and no in between. And the reason for that being is his whole thing of, I'm third place Logan, I need to win this game, that I can finally prove to myself that I can win something. I got third place in the Olympics, and I can't get anything else. Meaning that you as a writer have set up that Logan Hell himself is either going to get third place as a set of narrative irony that he still can't do it. He still has to get third place, and it's either going to be really fucking funny that, damn, Logan, you still can't get anything past third place, or he's going to learn from that and accept that, you know what, I'm not always the best. or he's going to overcome that and actually get to win something. And you see that in his finale, that it's like, yes, I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to win. I'm going to lock the fuck in. No more third place Logan. So it pretty much constitutes that you're either going to get third place or you are going to win. No in between. People can argue that, well, he can still learn something and let go if he gets second place, so that way Jade can win. But the issue with that comes, second place doesn't really teach this lesson as much as I feel like him accepting third place would. You can argue that for him to come so close and to lose is learning that lesson, but I feel like from a narrative and character standpoint, where you come from with Logan really is only third or first. Second place, it would be a step up for him as a character, but at the same time, it would be the same thing of, well, he just gets to lose. You can just let him do that in third place. That's where you come from in a narrative standpoint. And once Logan didn't get third, it was pretty much guaranteed that he was going to win. And let me continue and add even more reasons as to why his victory was the most telegraphed thing in the world. His whole thing of getting to overcome his fear of swimming, he almost dies halfway through the season underwater, and he gains a fear of water. Water as a character is his element. He's an Olympic swimmer. And throughout the beginning of the season, you see that, like, this is something that he excels at. This is something that he feels excellent at. And suddenly, to lose that and to become fearful of the thing that mattered the most to you in the world is something that the character consistently needs to overcome. And this is an arc that I really didn't have a problem with for Logan. I think it's cool to watch him try and get better, try and overcome that fear, that pain that he had from nearly drowning, and I think that it works for him. So it's because of that once you look at this fear of drowning, it's something for he as a character to overcome, to gain that victory at the end of the show, because it's like you've set up this arc of Logan. He has this fear of swimming, he doesn't want to get into the water, and now it's pretty much the most obvious thing in the world to then have the final challenge, have a swimming leg near the end of it. Honestly, I'm surprised that they didn't decide to go with the swimming as the final part of the challenge. Like, yes, Logan must dive into the water in order to win the game, or else that's it, he can't do it. But I am at least happy with the way that they went about it. I still think it's fine, I still think it's cool, but, you know, I'm like, I don't know. Granted, maybe if it were me, I would have put the swimming as the final leg for Logan to overcome this hurdle. Granted, I wouldn't have made Logan win in the first place. Logan nor Jade should have been in this finale. I think that everybody was a better option. But if it were me and I was writing Logan in this, I would have been like, swimming is the final leg that he must overcome. But at the same time, we'll get into how he won later. But yeah, it's pretty much, yes, here's your completed character arc. You must swim. You must face your fear. You must overcome this hurdle that has been consuming you throughout the season. As far as a character arc goes, I think it's pretty solid narratively for this to be a conclusion to Logan's arc. And overcome that fear, overcome that pain, overcome that tragedy, that loss of a piece of yourself, to then regain that piece of yourself and win. It is writing 101, you know? But even then, that's the stuff within the show. Let's talk about the stuff outside of the show, and the fact that Jared Madrigal, the man himself, wanted us to like Logan so bad throughout this season. He's just trying so hard, and I feel bad for the guy because, like, he has this winner that he has set up and everyone is calling Logan Bell, Logan Hell. So he's just like, isn't Logan so cool? Isn't he the guy? I think you just don't understand what we're trying to do here with this character. Like, I think that you should really like Logan. I think that Logan is great. I think that Logan is the best, and I feel bad to be in that position. You know that this character is going to win, and everybody is like, I fucking cannot stand Logan, hell. So it's like, yeah, no, that's a terrible position to be in. You wanted us to like this man so bad. At that point, we should have got the hint that Logan is going far. Maybe he's going to win. We do not know, but Jared wanted us to like Logan so bad, and it's that fact that made it pretty obvious to everyone that, like, Logan is going to be in season 5 of Disventure Camp. That is something that we simply cannot avoid. This man is getting into the 5th season. Yeah, no, everyone thought that he was going to get into season 5. I mean, fans versus favorites, and he's clearly Jared's favorite. So obviously he's going to get into season 5. But then very shortly before the finale, Jared said something really interesting, because he said, and I quote, that no winners were ever considered for fans versus favorites, and we thought Logan was a lock, but then Anastasia got in. No winners were considered for fans versus favorites, when it's so clear that this man loves Logan to his dying breath. It's just like, oh, Logan's gonna win. Yeah, Logan's gonna win. Like, at this point, Jared Madrigal, the man himself, was basically shining into the sky like the fucking bat signal that Logan Bell is going to win Disventure Camp, Carnival of Chaos. And it is absolutely astonishing to me that most people, whether it's because they just really wanted Jade to win, or that they refuse to feel that Logan was going to win, that it was the most obvious thing in the world, especially when Anna lost. Well, especially when honestly, we really should have realized it by the time that we got to that final 3 that Logan was going to win. Initially, I was going to say no. By the time we got to the final 2, it was obvious Logan was going to win. But no, by the time we got to the final 3, it was obvious Logan was going to win. There was no way in hell that man was going to lose a jury vote, because of the fact that despite his flip-flopping, he receives absolutely no consequences. So it's like, everybody loves Logan. And even in the episode at the motel, everybody loved Logan. He's fantastic. He is that guy. So it's just like, nah, Logan as a character, there was absolutely no way in hell that by the final 3 that he was going to lose Disventure Camp. And that's kind of obvious to me. So yeah, at the end of the day, honestly, they both sucked. They sucked so much, actually, that in the penultimate episode of the season, they had to go out of their way to manufacture drama between Jade and Logan, because they had to have Anastasia go, remember the time when you were drowning and everyone came to save you, but you know who didn't? It was Jade, Logan. She was the one who left you behind in order to win the challenge and was willing to let you die. Some friend that she is, am I right? Like, they had to go out of their way to bring that up so that Logan would be mad at Jade. But even then, they couldn't follow through with that, because they made the two make up in the beginning of the finale, when I think, honestly, it would have been stronger for that beef to carry into the finale itself, rather than have it just be something that was left and then let the two forgive each other afterwards. Jade not begrudgingly, but maybe Jade is like, you know what, I was wrong to have done that to you, Logan. I'm so sorry. Congratulations. You played hard, like that sort of thing, rather than, yes, we're going to bring up this drama. We need them to be adversarial towards each other. And at the end of the day, it's like, do you want Logan to be mad at Jade for almost letting him die? Or do you want them to be, yeah, we're going to take each other to the very end? Because I feel like they tried to have both, and I think that it would have been better to either just leave this in the past, or to leave this in the past and have the, yes, we're gonna give it our all to the end, which is a fine way to go about the finale, or have it that Logan is mad at Jade for leaving him to drown, but they chickened out on the latter, and in some ways tried to do both, and I think that's just lame. But even then, I really do think that anybody else this season would have been better finalists than either Logan Hell or boring-ass Jade. And so, let's go down the list. Let's go in elimination order up the list of characters who I felt would have been better finalists. Alessio! Actually, no. I love Alessio, guys, but actually he would not have made a better finalist than these two. Maybe if he had a proper character arc, but for the most part, no. Ted. Ted would have made an excellent finalist, if not an obvious one, and I kind of want to talk about him. On the one hand, I understand what Odd Nation Cartoons were going for with Ted. They wanted to, like, oh yeah, you have the poker player, so of course he's gonna be really good in manipulating the game. So they booted his ass early. But honestly, wasting the character archetype of, like, a master poker player in a series like this is honestly such a shame. If not for making a good finalist, he would have made an excellent character to move forward with, and it's a damn shame that they didn't. But yeah, Ted would have made a better finalist, especially if they followed through with that character arc. Sometimes doing the obvious is okay. You can still have fun with Ted as a character, even if it is a little on the nose, even if it is a little obvious. He would have made a fun finalist in the alternative universe where my man Ted was working the game, but it just wasn't meant to be. Also, yeah, I guess this section is also where I get to talk about each and every one of the characters in Disventure Camp Carnival of Chaos. But with that said, Diego, my man Diego. Actually, I don't think Diego would have made a good finalist, despite everything. I love the guy. He's so sweet, he's so nice, he's wonderful, but I actually don't think he would have made a good finalist. Okay, so right off the bat, we have 1 out of 3 that would have made better finalists. Let's keep going. Tristan, my beloved Tristan was excellent, and I loved them. They would have made a fantastic finalist, especially with their whole thing about their arc of just wanting to kind of like find their place in the world, wanting to come out of their shadow. Yeah, it's true that they found that within the Vibe Tribe, but honestly, if they gave Tristan the win, I would have been very okay with that. I think everyone, okay, not everyone, but I think a lot of people would have been okay with Tristan finding their strength and moving forward and winning the show. I think that would have been great. Tristan would have made an excellent finalist. See, we're already up to halfway. 2 out of 4. Let's go. Let's keep going. Who's next? Amelie. Okay, actually, Amelie would have made a great antagonistic force throughout the show, and I really love her bond with Hannah, but actually I don't think she would have made a good finalist. She is a character that, on the contrary to Logan, she has won basically everything in her life. She has fought hard for those wins, yes, but I think that as a character, Amelie gains absolutely nothing from winning Disventure Camp. She is already stupid rich, successful business, and as a character, she doesn't really learn you don't learn anything from winning, Amelie. So it's like, yeah, okay. All right, we're back down to halfway down. We're back down to more than half being not better finalists. I still think Amelie would have made an excellent antagonist, but yeah, over Logan or Jade, I'd take Logan or Jade over Amelie. Linda. Let's talk about fucking Linda, because oh my god, she deserved better. I wish Linda was a finalist, honestly, or had made... Linda deserved to make it to the merge. Linda deserved a second chance. I'm so mad that they teased us with a second chance in the finale when her ass is not getting into fans versus favorites, but she's one of my favorites. And just her whole thing of wanting to find purpose in a life of being a stay-at-home mom with a family that is kind of ungrateful towards her, and having that love of reality TV and using that knowledge to make her way up the game, I think she would have made a wonderful finalist. And Linda, you deserved so much better, but for what you gave us, you were excellent, you were fun, you were amazing. Linda, my beloved. Linda, my beloved, listen, if that husband of yours is clearly not working out, call me. But nah, for real, Linda would have made a fun finalist. She would have been great. I think ultimately she's a character that, honestly, I could see you going either way with a win or lose with her. But like, if you want to go with the, yeah, no, she is awesome. She can do these things, and she won fucking Disventure Camp. She got that independence that she wanted. I also feel like she's a character that you would have been okay with. You know what? Winning isn't everything, dearie. Yeah, that's more of Melinda. Melinda, not to be confused with Linda. Winning isn't everything, dearie. But still having found her strength and purpose, and like, you know what? I did get pretty far in this game. That's pretty awesome. She doesn't need to win. She doesn't need to be a finalist, but she would have made a great finalist. Better than either Logan or Jade. Ivy. Actually, Ivy is another character that, admittedly, I don't care much for. She's good. She's alright. I like her as a member of the Vibe Tribe. She's got that going for her. I love the Vibe Tribe. Admittedly, I love Ivy more as a member of the Vibe Tribe than I love her as a character, if that makes sense. Like, as an independent character. So, there's that. Okay, Ivy, I don't think would have made a good finalist. I will concede to that. Alright, we're back down, halfway down. See, I'm making this video and I'm disproving myself. Isn't this fun? Isn't this the fun of unscripted videos? Just having fun. Who's next? Marissa. Marissa could have made a good finalist if you rewrote her a lot. I love her thing of she's been raised as an army brat her entire life, and the fact that she doesn't really want to go to the army, she's having second thoughts. Girl doesn't want to die, and honestly, mad respect for that. But what's it? The issue with Marissa, which is something that will tie in, which we will certainly be getting into later because it is relevant. She's kind of mainly there to uplift Anastasia as a character. And because of that, she doesn't have much of her own. At least in terms of gameplay and in terms of just trying to do what she can. She's there for Anastasia. And I think if you gave the alternate timeline in which in that tiebreaker challenge, which might I say, I actually honestly, I really liked both tiebreakers in this season, but in that tiebreaker challenge for, Anastasia versus Marissa, and honestly, brilliant move by our girl Isabel, may I say. Like, that was straight up devious. Like, yeah, it puts you in hell. Despite you being a nun, it puts you in hell. But whew, that was probably one of the best moments in season 4. I loved Marissa versus Jade. I loved Marissa versus Anastasia, and oh god. In an alternate timeline where Marissa's the one who won the challenge and Anastasia's the one that lost, and that gives her the drive to move forward and play her own game and win her own game, I think that she would have made a great finalist. But that's not really the Marissa we have now, is it? So yeah. So adding to the list, we have alternate timeline Melissa. I like how this list has alternate timeline Ted and alternate timeline Melissa. I like how this list has alternate timeline Ted and alternate timeline Marissa as great finalists. I'm doing a great job. Maybe I should cut this section of the video, but I'm honestly having fun talking about this. Who's next on the list? Benji! Oh my god, Benji! Oh god. Benji would have made a fantastic finalist too, especially with his whole thing of like not really sure what he wants to do with his life. He's like Marissa in that regard of just like, I don't know what to do. I have this path that my parents have set me on, but it's just not really feeling me. winning Disventure Camp, I think for him would have been just really, really good for him. I think winning would have done numbers from him, and seeing him find his strength, his drive to win. Because of the fact of the matter is that he hasn't really been driven much towards anything in his life, and now being like, no, this is what I want. I want to be the winner of Disventure Camp Carnival of Chaos. Going from awkward, out of place Benji to the one who won it all, I think would have been fantastic. I think that would have been great. I think Benji would have made an excellent finalist, even if he lost in the end, because it would have shown that he can do great things. He may have lost it in the end, but damn, look at him. Second place in a show like this, that's crazy. In a social game, Benji would have made great finalists. Richard. Yeah. Actually, Richard is a character I really fucking love. I love Richard so much, but yeah, I'll admit, my man would not have made a good finalist. I know, if you follow me on Twitter, you may have seen that I made a tweet where, because I was not fond of the final three of Disventure Camp Carnival of Chaos. So, somebody made a tweet about, like, Richard, basically showing that part in the intro with Richard, Ted, and Linda together. And I think it was, like, Iconic Trio or something. I'll put it up on the screen. But it was, like, Iconic Trio, and I'm just, like, I quote tweeted that saying, unironically, would have been a better final three. And they would have. But in that hypothetical final three of Richard, Ted, and Linda, which I'll admit Disventure Camp's significantly younger audience probably would not have loved, but I would have loved it. I'm an old man. I'm almost 30 years old. I'm so old. I would have loved it. For the old folks, for all of us in the retirement home, I would have loved it. But yeah, in that hypothetical final three, yeah, Richard is the one getting third place. It's Ted versus Linda, baby. Let's go. That would have been hype. That would have been excellent. And I would have given the win to Linda. But oh my god, yeah, no, what's it? Richard would not have made a good finalist. So yeah, we keep having anyone. I said anybody would have made a better finalist, and yet we have more characters that would have made worse finalists than them than better ones. I'm not winning this argument now, am I? But I'm having fun. This is a fun discussion video. I mean, that's what this is all about. So yeah, Natalia. I'm not sure, actually. I like Natalia as a character. I think she's good. I don't think she would have. She's a character destined to go far. But ultimately, narratively, I guess I just can't see her being a finalist. She's great. I'm happy that she's going to be in season 5, but yeah. Spencer, my man. I know that Spencer is a character that is very obviously set up for failure, and I get that. But honestly, he played a good game. He was a rat. He was a slimy, slippery little snake. An eel, if you will, except not nearly as sexy and as determined and fantastical as the likes of Alejandro Muerto. But he played a good game. He was a fun villain all around. Spencer is actually arguably my favorite of the Disventure Camp Season 4 cast. Actually, he's like Alec in where he is my favorite of the Season 1 cast. Alec and Spencer, I don't know what it is about Odd Nation cartoons, but you really make some excellent British rat men. Like, genuinely. Your British rat men, 10 out of 10. If the next cast somehow has a British rat man, or if Odd Nation Cartoons makes yet another cast someday with yet another British rat man, I know he's gonna be a 10 out of 10 character. Like, I don't know what it is, but you guys make these guys excellently. But despite that, with Spencer being kinda made to lose, yeah, you can do that in the final two. He's a fun antagonist. He has a lot of fun. I'd love to see this shaved rat of a man get to the final two, only to fall at the end like, no, it should have been me. And you know what? Maybe it should have been Diego. Maybe it should have been with Diego. We're bringing Diego back as a good finalist if it's a versus Spencer. No, we're not. Oh, no, we're not. Next up, we have the likes of Jade. Jade, my absolutely glorious robbed king. I think you would have made a fantastic finalist. You're fighting for your family. You're fighting for your mom. You told us that anyone can cook. Ratatouille was not a lie, man. And you should have made the final two. In another world, in another place, I think you would have made a great finalist. Jade, you definitely would have made a great finalist. And for the first time in all of this, we are now more finalists that would have been better than more finalists that would have been worse. Hell yeah. We're making this argument work. Isabelle. Isabelle was a fantastic villain. Honestly, more so than the likes of Spencer. Isabelle was great, and she has the drive, the motivation. I love how well-rounded and wonderful of a character that Isabelle is. Don't get me wrong, she's still wicked. Jade was right, but she's wicked in a way that is fun. She played a fun game. She made it work, and that was really cool. I loved Isabelle so much. She would have made a fantastic finalist, making it, after everything she's been through, making it to the end, and I think Isabelle would have been a great character to make the win, honestly and truly speaking. She would have been fantastic. Isabelle would have made a great finalist. Hannah would have made a great finalist. I think Hannah as a character, win or lose, would have been fantastic in the end. Because, if you make it that she wins after everything she's been through, after everyone she's lost throughout this game, finally she comes to the end and she fucking wins. And goddamn, she deserves it. She's been through so much hardship, so much pain. It would have been for a fantastic finale to give Hannah the win. But at the same time, you could also make her lose. And you could roll with the idea of the narrative of, I've lost so many people, and now I finally lost. And you know what? I think I'm okay with that. This game has done such horrible things to me as a person, and now I'm glad to be done. I'm glad for the friends that I've made over the course of this show. I'm so happy to be alive. I would have cried for Anna because I'm like, look at you go, girl. Love that for you. Yeah, no, it should have been you, Queen, but like, I get it. I think that's something really great to take away with Hannah. Hannah, win or lose, would have made a great finalist. She would have been excellent. She would have been fantastic. Finally, we have my girl. My winner pick from the get-go. Anastasia. With the final three that we had, it should have been you. From the get-go, Anastasia as a character has been working so hard throughout this game. I'd argue that she has been playing harder than pretty much anybody in the game. She wanted to win. She deserved the win. Except for maybe, you know what? More than anybody, I will give Anastasia, I'd argue maybe Isabelle. Anastasia and Isabelle. These two are the ones who have been playing the fucking hardest. I honestly would have loved Anastasia and Isabelle as a final two. Seeing that rivalry, that grudge finally come to the end in a climactic finale would have been excellent. And between the two, I would have been satisfied with either of them winning. Between the two, I would have been satisfied with either of them winning, but that's a hypothetical. Getting into Anastasia as the character, she has fought hard throughout this game. More than anybody, except for maybe Isabelle. She has been fighting and just had the drive and the energy and the strength to win. Because with her backstory and everything, she was living and thriving in the world of the cutthroat modeling agency where you can't really trust or care about anyone, and then to have lost it all because of her sexual orientation. That's some really tragic stuff. That's harsh. And to find herself on Disventure camp where she treats things the same, but she also has things change. She finds friends in Jade only to lose them again because you can't trust anybody. You have her love for Marissa, only for that love to be then turned on its head in a climactic, dramatic tiebreaker challenge that, again, was excellent. Like, chef's kiss to that scene. It was wonderful. Anna as a character would have made a fantastic finalist. She would have been everything. It should have been you, Anna. And I think in the end, that is where I kind of stand with all of these characters and like who deserved to win, who deserved to make the finale, who didn't. I think a lot of characters. So, okay. We come back to Jade and Logan and that, okay, it's not literally anybody else, but more than half the cast, I feel, would have made better finalists than the ones that we got. Then that's okay. If it were me, it would have been different. But hey, I'm not an Odd Nation cartoons. I'm someone who writes, but I'm not them. And ultimately, it's their show. But with all of that said, despite my hating Logan, hating Jade, okay, I don't hate them, but despite my feelings on Logan and Jade as characters, I'll concede that I actually really like the way that Logan won the season. Like, genuinely. I thought it was really, really fun. And I know what a lot of Jade fans think of the finale of Disventure Camp, Carnival of Chaos, and how Logan won, that they bent over backwards to make it that Logan would win the season. I can't believe this. They defied all logic. They defied all physics. But the thing of it is that at the end of the day, Disventure Camp is a cartoon. And a cartoon that is based off of the likes of Total Drama. Yes, it has its Survivor influences. Yes, it does have a level of realism, but this is the same franchise where possessed dolls exist in the world. We have VR challenges where it's fucking, I'm the Lyoko gem, where it's fucking Code Lyoko. This very season, we had Logan in a virtual world as a knight, and Jade as a magician. Man, my D&D friends are gonna be killing me right now. But like, yeah, they like, Disventure Camp is not an entirely realistic world, and I will concede Natalia keeping the coconut was a little bit contrived. I'm not gonna lie about that. There could have been better ways for like the car to go on autopilot, but I just really love how Logan's win kind of played into the love of the media of animation and its Total Drama roots as well. There's absolutely a way I can see a Total Drama character winning a season where it's just like, yeah, no, I'm gonna jump on top of the hood of this car. I don't know if this is gonna work. It's fucking Cody. No, it's Tyler. I'm gonna jump up on the hood of this car and I'm gonna take the mannequin. And I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna make it to go. That's my fucking Tyler. He jumps off and he's facing Alejandro and he wins. Like, I think that leans heavily into its animation, into its cartoon, into its Total Drama roots. I think that is fun. I think it's really, really fun. And that's why I really liked Logan's win, actually, a hell of a lot, because it's like, Disventure Camp is a cartoon at the end of the day, and it's like, it's fun, it's animation, it's things you can't do in real life. Because yeah, in real life, My man Logan's gonna run over. Logan Hell is going straight to hell. He did that in real life, but that's the fun of cartoons. You can do things you can't do in the real world. However, one thing I will also say about this win is that the animation was a little weird in the way it communicated Logan's win, because like a lot of people on Twitter have been saying, and like I have been seeing, I thought this myself, I'm like, oh, did he lose? Because like Jade races past him, and it's like he falls. It looked like he fell a little short, and Jade raced past him into the finish line. Like that's the way it looked on first viewing. But then they're like, Logan wins, and I'm like, oh, you know. So I think that despite everything, the animation could have communicated a little bit better that yes, Logan did win, but yeah. But with all of that being said, we look at these characters and now we ask a very important question. If it had to be these two, despite my talking about other characters and how much I would have liked for them to win, how do we make Logan and Jade better finalists? I will start with Logan because I feel like he is the easier one to talk about here. It's just one very simple little thing with Logan. Acknowledge his shortcomings. Acknowledge that he's been a shit friend to people. Acknowledge that he's been betraying people left and right. Don't just be like, Logan, you flipped? And that's it. No, like actually get into the fact that Logan is playing a really flip-floppy and dangerous. He's being defensive. And let him be called out for that. Maybe have it where in the motel episode, they're being like, man, I can't stand Logan's game. You know? Or maybe have it in the jury vote, being like, man, I wish fucking Logan was here so I could have voted him off. I wanted to get rid of Logan so that either of these two queens could make it into the finale. But like that's the general consensus. But no, Logan is pretty much loved by all and gets forgiven by all, and it's like, yeah, no, make it clear that he has fought his way to the end. He has done what he can to make it to this finale, and just acknowledge that Logan has been doing some shit. For example, in Dungeons and Dragons, Isabel is the one that's eliminated in that episode. Make it that Anastasia is furious at Logan and fucking guts him, you know, in the challenge. It's just like, or maybe she is pissed. She throws that axe at him and it fucking beheads him. That's the last time you get the jump on me. And then maybe Hannah, in that distraction, is quick to get the crown, or maybe that's how Anastasia goes and wins that challenge or something. And she's like, do not ever speak to me again, Logan. That sort of deal. Like, just do things where it's like Logan as a character is having his faults and his shortcomings and everything that he's been doing through the game. Acknowledge, like, I'm gonna bring somebody fun up here, but Jake Hamilton, my beloved Jake. God, should I make a video about Jake? Would you want to hear my ramblings and ongoings of Jake as a character? Because I have a lot of opinions of Jake as a character, but Jake Hamilton, he was insufferable in Disventure Camp All-Stars, but at the very least, through his being insufferable, he was called out. He had things happen to him. It wasn't just like, you know, oh, it's okay, Jake, you know, we all love you. No, it's like, actually, you know what? For example, Allie fucking hated Jake, as she should have. Like, a lot of people hated Jake, and it's like, yeah, no. But everyone's just like, man, I fucking love Logan. What a guy, you know? And it's just like, even I, as a person, despite everything, genuinely, I actually cannot bring myself to hate Logan. I think he's a swell character. I've always liked him. Even though I think he's a shit finalist, I still think that it would have been, honestly, it would have been great for Logan as a character. Like, oh god. I cannot bring myself to hate Logan. Scenes like the one with him and Hannah in that Final Four challenge. Even though Logan has his shortcomings, has his faults, has been flipping and flopping like a fucking flounder, he's still fun. I still like him a lot. He's just a shit finalist. Maybe it just would have made him better if they had just acknowledged those faults. Now we gotta talk about how Jade would have made a better finalist, and oh boy, this is gonna take a while. Buckle up, everybody, because, well, I've talked about how Jade is a character I wish I really liked, and I wish that she was written better. So with that said, this is basically gonna be how do we not only fix Jade as a finalist, but how do we fix Jade as a character to make her worthy of that final two? Because, oh boy, I think with Jade, it's that whole thing of telling and not showing, and I think it would have been better to have it where you show a lot of these things that she is doing, that she wants for herself, you know? Like, she was smart, she was chill. I don't completely hate Jade. I think she's boring, but I don't completely hate her. She had her moments. Despite everything, she had her gameplay advantages, which I can acknowledge and appreciate, but being smart, being cool just isn't enough to make an interesting and compelling character and one that is worthy of the final two. So with that said, it isn't just enough to use advantages to get yourself further in the game. Like, it's neat that you have these advantages, they're good gameplay plays, but are ultimately forgettable in the likes of, Isabel putting Anastasia and Marissa against each other, Spencer having his iconic rivalry with Anastasia and trying to use that to get Linda back into the game over Anastasia. Like, there are better gameplay moves than just, I am using the idol that I found. Ultimately, I feel like the idols just that Jade had were just kind of, Like, I just feel like it wasn't enough. She got advantages. That's cool. That's great. But it's not enough to show that I am consistent and smart player. Like, when you use those idols, don't get me wrong, that was good, but like, I am a smart and calculating character. I think Jade needed to make more moves, like, to shake up the game, but discreetly as well. I think using if you really want to, because it's very clear that in the finale, they go with the idea of, am I a bad person for the way that I played this game? But nothing that Jade really did really makes it consistent, like, makes it really considerate. Like, is Jade a bad person? So I think actually make her make these moves where she does things to feels bad. Have her use the likes of Spencer and Isabel as covers for herself. Like, make that more of an overt thing that she is doing. Like, that isn't seen, like, by the other players in the game, but is seen by us, the audience, that, like, yeah, no, Spencer is my fall guy. Now Isabel is my fall guy. You know? And, like, the thing of it is, like, despite them being my fall guys, I'm starting to like them, but it's like, I need to get further in this game. I need to win. So it's like, you have that slight thing of just, she is making these friends, but ultimately that they are means to an end. And that's the big thing. Yes, Jade and Spencer had their conflict, and yes, ultimately Jade did have Isabel get eliminated to further her game, but I feel like leaning into this idea of, I cannot get too attached, but at the same time I am starting to get attached, but ultimately these people are just to further my game, I think would have made it better. So it's like, yeah, no. And she's also leaning Spencer and Isabel into making these big moves instead of have a confessional, for example. Like, Jade was like, are you sure about this with the Marissa versus Anastasia thing? Having it put a huge target on Isabel's back. Have a confessional where Jade is like, I shouldn't let her do this, but at the same time, this is going to create a massive target. We are thinning the numbers here. Maybe it's time to let Isabel be the one that everyone focuses on, and then be like, Yeah, Anna, do it. Sorry. Yeah, Isabel, do it. Put Anna and Marissa against each other. That's not gonna make Anastasia hate you, and that's not gonna make everyone on the island fucking hate you. You know, I think it's a good idea. Because at the end of the day, you're painting this target on Isabel, and she considers it as well. It's like, at the end of the day, either everyone takes out Isabel, or somehow Isabel manages to take out Anastasia. A massive Anastasia and or Marissa, both a physical and strategical massive threat in the game, depending on who is going out. Have Jade make these moves and feeling bad, but being like, I am trying to manipulate this. I'm trying to play 4D chess. I'm trying to play everyone's emotions, that sort of thing. And then you can have that question at the end, am I a bad person for having played this game the way that I have? And it's like, maybe, I think that's a very, very important thing. Have Jade actually make bigger moves than just, here is an idol I got. You have Jade. One of the things that Jared has said is that Jade as a character is based off of Sister Sage from The Boys. And I haven't watched the later seasons of The Boys. I'm sorry about that. I'm saying I'm sorry about that to my friends who really want me to catch up on The Boys. But I know enough about Sister Sage to know that she's this conniving, manipulative person who is trying to worm her way. She is super smart. She's making these moves. She's making these big moves to put herself on top. So do that. Have that be a thing with Jade. Just playing idols isn't enough. You need to make her make significant moves. And I think making Spencer and making Isabel her falls, despite liking them, I think would have been a really good way to do that. Let's talk about the social butterfly thing, because I think that really goes in on the telling versus showing thing. We have it that Jade... You guys really let Silly Billy have it when he confusedly delivered the Jade is a social butterfly? Huh, who knew? But honestly, he was right to be confused on that delivery, because the show doesn't really show us much of Jade being a social butterfly. It just tells us, oh yeah, Jade is a social butterfly. People love Jade. And it's like, show us that. You have this character who is more quiet and reserved and is holding herself back. So make it that this type of person is also a very good listener. And at least that's the way I would approach it. Have it that because the most of her relationships that Jade has in the show are basically that with Isabel and that with Spencer. And anybody else really past that, outside of, again, Benji, who they have that connection of superheroes. That's neat. That's fun. But I think that the best way to approach this is to have Jade as a character be this really good listener. She's quiet. She's reserved. So maybe people throughout the game begin to approach Jade as a person being like, you know what, I'm just so frustrated with everything going on. Jade, help, and she's listening. She's quiet. She's letting them let their feelings out. She's kind of being this person for them, but also having that listening aspect of her character and being a social butterfly. It plays into her game and into her knowledge of the other characters because she's listening to them. She's learning them. She's helping them, yes, in their personal problems, but also Jade ends up using this information that she has about people to her advantage, especially in episodes like the Corn Maze Challenge. She can use these sorts of things to get past people in the game, make the game her own, use that as a sort of manipulation, and then again, you can ask that question at the end, am I a bad person for the way in which I've played this game? But also, Jade as a character, it's this whole thing of I'm holding back who I am, who is the real me, and the idea of the real me is just somebody that people are not going to really like very much. So I think the big thing of that is have parts of the real Jade actually begin to crack throughout the season in little bits and little moments. Spencer, despite everything, was a really good character for Jade because she was someone that she could bounce off of and someone who she was allowed to at least have a little more just... She was allowed to get frustrated with Spencer as a character. She was allowed to breathe. She was allowed to be a little more fluid and cool, and I think that was really good for her. Have more of that. Have it where maybe Jade is cool and calm and collected for the most part, but maybe she loses that composure occasionally, and maybe she lets parts of her come through, and maybe she adjusts her game, and maybe she catches herself and adjusts herself. Like, say she's in a moment where she's having fun with, I don't know, Tristan, or actually, let's use Logan, since these two are meant to be characters that are meant to be pitted against each other. You have this moment where, like, maybe Logan and Jade are having fun together. They're having a good, like, at first she's, like, talking to him, and, like, she's doing her whole listening to Logan go off about this whole swimming thing. And maybe Jade gets into the water with Logan, and maybe the two of them, as things are going on, the two of them end up having fun together, having a lot of fun, and, like, maybe the two get into a water fight or something, and it's like, Logan is like, you know what, you're actually really cool, you're really fun, Jade, and she kind of catches herself in that, and, like, I'm sorry, I'm not, that was inappropriate, I don't know what I was thinking, that was really inappropriate, I'm sorry, and it's just like, nah, it's cool, you should do that more, like, I feel like Logan is a good character for that sort of thing, like, let Jade be falling into her normal self, and the fact that she believes that people wouldn't like that very much, let her catch herself and be like, oh my god, I'm sorry, and be like, yeah, it's cool, you should do that more, and you know what, maybe that also be your true self and letting go, that sort of thing. Maybe it would have made it more appropriate for Jade as a character to lose, because it's just like, you know what, if I'm going out as me, and I'm happy for that, like, I think that Jade is an excellent concept for a character, but I think that there's also a lot of things that you can do to make her better. Now, of course, I'm speaking of this hypothetically. I'm not doing a full rewrite of the season where it's like, yeah, I'm making it that this is the version of Jade that I have in mind, but I think that would have made her more compelling of both a character and as a winner, to ultimately make it that she is a worthy finalist, a worthy, maybe even winner or something. But as of right now, the Jade that we have is just very boring and very surface level and very flat as a character. And I think that's disappointing, because I honestly think that she could have been great. And yeah. But honestly, despite my hating of the Disventure Camp finalists and how it's just like, it should have been Anna, it should have been this, it should have been that, at the end of the day, I think I actually have a lot of respect for Odd Nation Cartoons sticking to their guns when it came to Logan as a finalist. Jared, my man, I know you tried to get us to like him so bad, and you know what? I'm one of those people. I can't bring myself to hate Logan. I hate a lot of the character choices you made with him. I think he's not a worthy finalist, but I actually did like Logan as a character, and a lot of people didn't. A lot of people wanted Jade to win this game, but you know what? You had your set path for this narrative that you wanted to see through from start to finish, and you stuck with that. You wanted to tell the story. You told the story that you wanted to tell, despite what the fans would have wanted, despite what the fans were. It's your show. You're writing your show. Disventure Camp belongs to Odd Nation Cartoons, not to the fans, not to the people that are most invested in it, but to them. And you saw how people were reacting to Logan. but you didn't back down, and I think I have a lot of respect to you. I think I have a lot of respect for you for that decision as one creative to another. I think that fandoms in general can be a bit entitled to what happens in a story that they're following, and that's not to say that you cannot be upset in anything that happens in a story. No, you absolutely can. But at the end of the day, you're not the writer. You're not the one who is creating this thing. You're just a fan, and you're here you're here to receive the product, whatever it may be, and you can be unsatisfied with that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and I don't know, I have a lot of respect for Odd Nation Cartoons going in the way that they did all of this. I think it's good, I think it's fun, I think it's cool, and just honestly, as creatives, I think you should keep going towards that. Good on you guys for that. With that said, let's talk about the fact that this community has not been great about the reaction to this finale, and the fact that there's just been a lot of bullshit going around, and a lot of things that are just like, there are accusations being made towards Odd Nation Cartoons about a lot of things, and it's like, at the end of the day, Jade lost. And this is the part where I get into significantly heavier topics, because we're going to talk about good old racism. And I have to say, stop saying that Jade losing is racist, because in and of itself, no, it really isn't. That finale, for what it is just Jade played her hardest. Logan played her hardest. At the end of the day, Jade lost. And that in and of itself is not something to say that, oh man, Odd Nation Cartoons are so racist for making Jade win, having the white man win over Jade. Is just, man, I can't believe this. But the thing of it is that in and of itself, on its own, is not racist. However, despite all of that, I actually do think that Disventure Camp as a show, especially this season, does have a bit of an issue of white favoritism within the show itself. But Jade losing is not an example of that. I said earlier I was going to talk a lot more about Jade and Marissa quite a bit, so let's talk about them. Jade is an excellent example of white favoritism within this show, because the whole thing is that Jade has the arc of just being Ivy's boyfriend for a while, and when Ivy gets eliminated, instead of actually giving Jade more things to do, you just kind of let him float around until eventually he becomes a side to Anastasia, yet another white woman, and you have it where he's being a great friend to Anastasia. I actually really love their bond. I'm actually happy that they made up in the end. But Jade and Anastasia are being good characters to each other, and he's being a great friend to her. He pulled her up out of the rut that was Marissa's elimination. And what thanks does he get for that? Having Logan, another white man, lie about him being a backstabber or being this horrible thing, and he gets eliminated for it. He was robbed. He was absolutely robbed, and there were better ways for him to go out than being this aside to other white characters. And when he gets into the motel, he was rightfully pissed as to what had happened to him, and it's just like, oh, Jade's being a little whiny. His feelings over the matter that he was screwed out of $1 million. It's just, oh, Jade, can't you just let it go? I mean, we all lost. And it's like, yeah, you all lost, and some of you have had unfair ways of going. I'm not saying that, but like, him specifically, he was screwed over in such a specific and stupid way. And of course, this leads into Logan not facing any consequences for what he does. Honestly, to some degree, even though I like Logan as a character, I feel like Jade honestly shouldn't have forgiven him. Because, like, despite everything, they were getting along to a degree. They were friends. And then Logan did that to him to further his own game. Jade is being downplayed as just being a little bit whiny, or Jade just can't get over this thing, he was screwed over. And in the end, you have it where it's just Jade as a character ultimately is played as a support to other wider characters. That actually is, rather than letting him be his own character, rather than letting him do his own thing. And when he is rightfully upset for being screwed out of the game, he's just like, oh, you're just being a little bit whiny, come on, guys, come on. That then leads us into Marissa. I've talked about how I love Anastasia and Marissa as a ship. Genuinely, I think that Anastasia and Marissa is an excellent couple. But Marissa has very little character, very little drive in the game itself outside of Anna. She only really, any gameplay move is only in service of Anastasia and moving her forward. And I love Anastasia as a character, but it's using this black woman to advance this white woman exclusively. And I think that's a shame, because it's just like, this is a recurring problem that has happened within the show. Marissa gets to come back to the game even just to further Anastasia, not to actually maybe have a chance of winning herself. No, it's only in service of Anastasia. Earlier during the who could have potentially made better winners, I think that better winners, even I suggested that Marissa can move forward, and if Anastasia had gotten eliminated instead, that Marissa could have moved forward and played a game, her own game despite losing Anastasia, and fighting for the both of them, but most importantly fighting for herself. And it's a shame, because Marissa as a character has set up to play her own game and do her own things, but instead she is consistently fawning over Anastasia. She is consistently making sure that Anastasia gets better, and it's yes, she is her girlfriend, but at the same time, it's let Marissa make her own gameplay moves, for example. Let Marissa, who even came back to the game, do something outside of Anastasia. Yes, she does have her own backstory with her not being sure if she wanted to be in the army, and honestly, with her not being sure what to do with her life, I think that it would have been significantly better for her to actually want to win the game for herself. But it's just something that doesn't happen, because she, a black woman, has to service her white girlfriend. That's ridiculous. There is a significant amount of white favoritism in this show, and it's not right, it's not fair. To a lesser extent, Gabby even had this issue within earlier seasons of Disventure Camp. This show in general is very significantly largely white, and of course they have been making changes and great strides for that. I want them to be better at this sort of thing moving forward. But as of right now, yes, Odd Nation cartoons, the way in which you have been writing black characters has kind of sucked. But at the same time, Jade losing is not an example of that same thing. If anything, she played her game and she lost. And I think that as a fandom, we need to acknowledge that complaining that Jade losing is racism in and of itself is going to make these problems of characters like Jade, characters like Marissa, feel significantly less, because she just lost. She just lost, and that's okay. One can argue actually something that actually might actually be racist, or at least not necessarily racist, but just ignorant when it comes to Jade as a character, is the fact that she didn't get nearly as much writing as other characters when she's meant to be a finalist, and that ultimately is why I thought that Jade is an extraordinarily boring character. So it's give Jade, your finalist, your planned finalist from the beginning, more writing compared to her other whiter counterparts. It's really that simple. And it's This is usually a topic I don't get into on my channel and like my channel on my platform, but because it is something that has been brought up because of this finale, I think it is very important that we talk about that. It is okay that Jade lost. I understand her wanting her to win, but saying that Jade losing just on its own is racist, I think is just incorrect, and I think ultimately it makes just the idea of things that have happened with this show and with these characters in terms of its treatment of its POC characters just significantly lessened. Let's please focus on the real issues within Disventure Camp and within its writing. And Odd Nation Cartoons, I really do hope you improve when it comes to Season 5. You have a lot of cool-looking POC characters that I'm really excited to meet, as well as the white ones. And I hope that you take the lessons that you've learned and heard from the community about Season 4, about Seasons 1 and 2 and 3 as well, and just make them better. I hope that you get people on board who are of these minority groups as well to talk about these issues within the script, within the writing of these characters and that sort of thing, because I think it can be better and I want it to be better. But as of right now, you haven't been doing good. But at the same time, Jade losing, that's not an issue in and of itself. Not really. That plays into that. However, Jade not getting the appropriate writing for being a finalist, I think actually is. So it's like, yeah, that's kind of where we are with that. But at the end of the day, please stop saying that Jade losing is racist, because I've seen it around and like, no, it's not. It really isn't. But with that said, in general, I want Odd Nation Cartoons to improve on their writing, not just for black characters, not just for... I myself am a black man, which is why I kind of focus on the black characters. Even characters like Diego kind of got sidelined a bit for Spencer as well. He doesn't have much in terms of game outside of Spencer, and I think that isn't fair as well. So it's like, yeah, let's do a little better in that front. But even then, I want Odd Nation Cartoons to improve on their writing, because like Disventure Camp All-Stars, this season started out very, very strong. Extraordinarily strong. Disventure Camp 4 in its early episodes was absolutely killing it. We were introduced to a fun, solid new cast of characters. We had exciting eliminations, we had twists, we had turns. It was great. We had relationships budding, we had a lot of good stuff going on. But then around the merge, maybe if I'm being a little gracious, a bit past that, but eventually it started to fizzle out. We were beginning to focus on the wrong characters. The characters that were meant to be your finalists just were not getting the appropriate focus and necessary writing needed to get them in a position of being worthy of that final two. Despite everything, All-Stars even, Rhea had the build-up needed to be the finalist that she was. So did Jake. And good lord, do I hate Jake. Okay, I don't hate Jake, but he had the build-up, he had the writing. Same goes for the likes of Season 2 with James and once again Rhea. Rhea again. Same goes for the likes of Season 1 with Miriam and Fiore. Both of them had very solid narrative build-up to there being a finale. You may say, Rhea and Jake, but yes, they had that significantly better. All-Stars has other issues than Rhea and Jake being bad finalists. I mean, they are, but not for the same reasons as Jake and not for the same reasons as Logan and Jade here. And it's like, I think part of it is an issue of these longer seasons that I think that you're allowing them to drag a bit, and that becomes a problem of, can your writing sustain such long episodes, such a long season? I think that's something that you really need to look at and evaluate when it comes to Season 5. Granted, Season 5 is probably a significant amount of the way through being written. I don't doubt that. If I wouldn't assume that season 5 is finished by now, but it's probably had a lot of its writing done. Look at your pacing. Look at the characters that you're focusing on. I talk a lot about Jade specifically, how she deserved better. And it's like, is your finalist, if you're going the same thing of you're not changing finalists at any point during the season that you know who it is, are your finalists, are your final 5, for example, ready to be a final 5? And, or are they just not really having the appropriate writing, and you ask the question of, why is this person still here? Why the fuck is, for example, Aiden still here? I love Aiden, but supposedly, if he didn't get the appropriate writing for the next season, why the hell is Aiden still here? Can we get rid of him, please? Oh no, he's a finalist, but he hasn't had the writing this season to make it appropriate for him to be a finalist. Ugh, I don't want to see that again. So it's just like, learn from season 4, learn from All Stars, learn from everything that you've done and improve. And even though I talk about fans being a little bit entitled, and they still are in that regard, but do listen to the fans of what went right and what went wrong with the seasons before this. And now learn from those experiences and make a better season. Because I think that Disventure Camp, despite being a quirky little show that I've come to really enjoy these days, that I have very mixed opinions on despite everything, I think that it genuinely can be great. And as of right now, it just hasn't been. But it has a lot of potential. And I hope that you'll be able to reach that potential. I think this could be, I really do think that Disventure Camp could be something even more fantastic than it already is. And for everything that you do, and for as much as what I respect and love about what you do with Disventure Camp as a show, I think it could be better. And I think that's all I really have to say about that. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about everything in this video. I have been recording for over 2 hours now. It's ridiculous. I have no idea how long this video is going to be. I thought this was going to be a 20-minute ramble, but it ended up not being. This video is, God, how long is this fucking video going to be? I guess we'll find out together, won't we now? But with all of that being said, that's all I really have to say about, Disventure Camp Season 4's finale and its characters and everything. I really actually had a fun time talking about all of this. I thought it was cool. I thought it was fun. And honestly, I'd love to talk about Disventure Camp again. If it goes well, I'd love to... I have more opinions about the show that I'd absolutely love to share. And, well, assuming that all of you haven't murdered me by now, dragging me by my ankles to kill me for my opinions about the Season 4 finale, because, yeah, I called out fans, I called out cast, I called out crew. Maybe I shouldn't talk about this show again. But, nah, for real, I'd love to talk about Disventure Camp again if people really want me to. I have a lot of opinions on the show, and I'd love to continue to share them. Maybe I'm becoming a Disventure Camp tuber. Maybe that's the thing now, but at the end of the day, these are my opinions about these finalists, about this show, and everything that I went on. And you know what? I'm not a perfect person. Maybe I got some things wrong. Maybe you can change my perspective. Maybe I can even do a follow-up video to this and say that, you know what, maybe I was wrong about Jade, maybe I was wrong about Logan, maybe I was wrong about this, maybe I was wrong about that. I'd love to have the discussion, and for all of us to just have a civil and honest discussion together. And we can have that by doing it in the comments below. But yeah, if you like this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and if you really like what I have to say and what I talk about here at my little channel, the Lyoko Gem, then hey, I have a Ko-fi that I have a Ko-fi that you can donate to as a little tip, as a thank you for blessing your eardrums, or your eardrums for the amount of time that I have in this video. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, everyone, and With all of that being said, this has been the Lyoko Gem, warping out.